Hi guys, today we're going to be learning about cross-hatching and hatching. Cross-hatching and hatching are two techniques that artists use to create tone and shading of an object. So lately in class we've been learning about different perspectives and different points of view. So at the end of this video you're going to be able to know how to draw an object and shade it appropriately. So first I'm going to talk about hatching. Hatching is created by a series of parallel lines, and these lines can be placed closer together or further apart in order to emphasize the darkness versus the lightness of an object. So I'm going to draw hatching with parallel lines that would emphasize a darker object, and whenever it's darker, the lines are going to be really close together, like this. You can also do the lines different ways to emphasize whatever the object looks like to you. Now I'm going to do hatching that's further apart so the object looks lighter. See how I'm making parallel lines right next to each other? So this kind of hatching would show an object wherever it's a little bit lighter. So next I'm going to talk about cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is drawing parallel lines that are crossing one another. So you'll draw parallel lines this way, and they also emphasize shading. So cross-hatching, when you're showing a darker area, you're going to draw the lines really close together, like this. See the straight parallel lines? And then it's called cross-hatching because they're going to cross like this. So you draw them really close together. So see how this looks like a darker area? Then this would be cross-hatching if it's further apart, so to show a lighter area. See how I'm crossing over? See how this cross-hatching doesn't look as dark as this one? You can compare the two. So also I'm gonna show you an artist. His name is Igor Lukyanov, and he's a Ukrainian artist that works with cross-hatching and hatching. He's an independent artist, illustrator, and also a graphic designer. He was originally an engineer, but he took his engineering skills and brought them into the graphic design world. So Igor draws hands and emphasize cross hatches and hatches to show the areas of darkness on your hands and different objects. So he took a lot of his ideas from different artists like Albrecht Dürer, and he took his ideas and he brought them into the graphic design world. So now I'm going to take this object, this cup, and I'm going to look at it, and from my perspective I'm looking at it straight on, so I obviously have a different perspective than you, the viewer. So I'm looking at it straight on, and I see the areas that are darker versus the areas that are lighter. So this side is reflecting the light that's above me, so I can see that this side I would not be necessarily hatching or cross-hatching. Here are the darker areas that I can see, and in here it's even darker. So I'm going to draw a basic outline of this object. So I'm drawing the cup as I see it. So I drew the basic outline of the object, see the cup, and that's how I see the cup head on. So now I'm going to look for my areas that are darker, so I see that right here it's a little bit shaded. So I'm going to draw closer lines together to emphasize the parts to emphasize the tone and the shaded areas. And then I'm going to cross hatch it because it's very dark and I want to show how dark it is. Inside, only the edges are kind of dark, but they're not as dark as the sides. So I'm just going to use hatching on the inside. For cross-hatching and hatching, you should use your judgment and see what the cup looks like or the object looks like to you and decide which one needs to be used in the situation. If the object is a darker area, like for right here, it's very dark to me, I'm going to use cross-hatching because the cross-hatching looks a lot darker than the hatching because it's the two lines crossing one another. Then this side is also very dark, so the whole way down I'm going to draw lines closer to one another. So I'm drawing these lines that are closer to one another, and then I'm going to cross hatch them to further emphasize the darkness. This is an important skill to be able to use, especially in this unit dealing with perspective and points of view, because as I'm looking at this cup, I'm seeing it differently as you are, the viewer. So you're getting to see my perspective whenever I finish this drawing. So you'll see what's shaded. And you'll be using, whenever you're drawing different perspectives, you'll realize that the object that you're drawing is shaded in different ways as you're viewing it in different ways. So now this part is, the top's a little bit dark on the inside, so I'm going to draw the lines further apart so it doesn't look as dark as as when the lines are closer together. Also along the bottom where the edge is rounded as I drew it at the bottom, it's also a little bit darker. So to emphasize the shading, I'm going to use hatching to emphasize it a little bit. So as you can see, this is my finished product, and this is how I view the cup. You can see it's darker on this side, because to me, that's where the area looks very dark. And down here, I used hatching to emphasize the fact that it's a little bit shaded, but not necessarily that as much as over here where I used cross hatching. And also you can see the hatching done up here and the cross hatching done over here. So I hope you take this video and you're able to understand cross hatching and hatching, and you're able to use it in your project that we're going to do preceding this. So I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you got a lot out of my video.